Welcome back. We're still reviewing the papers. I had one story in The Nation. So the borrowing plan submitted by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to the National Assembly represents a proposal and consists of projected borrowings by the federal and state governments over the next 2 years. The Presidency and the Ministry of Finance yesterday clarified that it's an all-inclusive national plan that comprises proposed loans by several states across the various geopolitical zones and the loan component of the federal government expenditure plan. So the clarification came against the misconception that the federal government intends to borrow under the current fiscal year. I took that story yesterday. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday sought an approval from the National Assembly for the 2025-2026 external borrowing rolling plan, totaling about 20 billion US dollars. They said in 3 separate letters, the President sought approval for the borrowing of 2 billion for capital grazing funds, another 2 billion in euro, 15 billion Japanese yen, a grant of 65 million euro, and another 7 billion something. So the Ministry of Finance explained that the rolling borrowing plan should not be confused with actual borrowing for any given year. According to the ministry, the actual borrowing for each year is contained in the annual budget. It is said that the external borrowing component of the 2025 budget, valued at 1.23 billion, is yet to be accessed. The ministry explained that the rolling plan encompassed borrowing needs for the federal government and several state governments across geopolitical zones, including Abia, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna, Lagos, Niger, Oyo, Sokoto, and Yobe. The ministry also noted that the inclusion of projects in the borrowing plan does not imply an immediate or automatic increase in the nation's debt burden, pointing out that given the structure of the rolling plan, funding is drawn in phases depending on the project timeline. So when I took the story yesterday, it was said that the new borrowings that they want to do now will impact what we have already borrowed and increase our debts. So now they're saying borrowing plan is not the same as borrowing actual money. That is the way they do it in phases. It does not increase the debts that we are. So I think they need to explain what they mean by borrowing plan and actual borrowing in clear terms, so that people, because I'm still a bit confused. I don't know if you understand it.
No, I don't.
So that people say don't. So that people understand that maybe this borrowing now is a different type of borrowing that does not impact the debt we already have.
There's a story here from the NDLEA boss. So he was speaking that Brigadier General Buba Marwa was speaking on Wednesday, and he was addressing the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Drug Control meeting within Abuja, and he disclosed that suspects of they caught 2 suspects that ingested cocaine, and they were they did like they were going to travel to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj, and that they ingested cocaine and they were caught on the way. He expressed concern over the disturbing trend of criminal people networking and exploiting religious sentiments, especially to do international travel. He said they've had incidents where people have been deceived in the name of Hajj. He said 2 years ago, 3 women were duped. Some individuals were offered to pay them for their tickets and visas, but they were told to deliver a small bag. So they just took these innocent women and offered them that you can go to Hajj, we'll cover your expenses, but help us carry this bag. And in those bags, into the lining of the bags were cocaine and other illicit drugs that they were made, those innocent women were made to carry all the way. Then he noted that even despite the funding challenges of the full implementation of the National Drug Control Master Plan that's supposed to last from 2020 to 2025, the agency has remained very steadfast in their mission, and they've been very committed. They remain resolute. They are drawing strength from the shared vision, and they are pleased to inform the Assembly that there's the amendment of the NDLEA Act, which is expected to strengthen the agency much more. They are just waiting for which has been passed by the National Assembly, are waiting for the President to assent to it, and that they are reviewing a lot of their programs. NDLEA is one agency that this show, and it's impossible for Nigerians not to say they've not seen what they are doing, because they are always vocal talking about it. And it's important that we talk about it also, especially because of all these stories of innocent people still being taken advantage of in this day and day.
Okay, so the stakeholders agree that industries need extra support from the federal government to bear the burdens of high interest rates and energy costs. They evaluated President Bola Tinubu's midterm performance in industrial growth, noting that the administration should complement its economic reforms which resolve to address structural issues. Because it's one thing to come up with so many things, but then, if the underlying issues are still there, then, you can't do a lot. Director of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, observed that industries with the manufacturing sector being the most impacted, they've suffered severely due to the reforms introduced by this administration. This sector by nature has a very high exposure to foreign exchange and energy, he stated. The impact of the reforms on energy and foreign exchange was a major shock to the manufacturing sector because it is highly energy intensive, both for production, for logistics, and highly dependent on raw materials, equipment, and spare parts imports. So he explained that the reforms, which he admitted were inevitable, caused manufacturing to suffer a major setback, which led to some of the companies declaring huge losses from 2023 to 2024. Yes. So, but he said that what they say, however, Tinubu's reforms have, according to the World Bank, reduced Nigeria's fiscal deficit from 6.2% of gross domestic products in the first half of 2023 to 4.4% in the first half of 2025. As the country's service sectors grew, foreign exchange improved, and the oil sector stabilized. So maybe they just have to create a balance and see what works. But, for a country, the manufacturing sector of any country is huge. That's the powerhouse of every economy. Yeah. So they just need to find what works and create a balance with all the reforms that they're doing.
Yes. So just a few headlines in the Punch here. I know Miriam has a story. May 29th speech, we're laying foundation for sustainable future, says Tinubu. Tinubu's 2-year review stir fresh political firestorm, and the manufacturer story that Amaka just took. So what do you have?
I have Reps probe status of Nigeria's missions in U.S. The House of Reps has resolved to investigate the infrastructure conditions of Nigeria's missions in Atlanta, New York, and Washington, D.C. in the United States. They said that Mr. Kingsley Chinda, a member of the PDP, and minority leader, speaking on the significance of the motion, said that it's embarrassing, that they found that their findings were embarrassing. They discovered at a recent oversight visit of the Nigeria-United States of America Parliamentary Friendship Group to the missions, the Nigerian Mission House in New York is reportedly indebted in rent payments and has left over 30 staff members without salaries for over a year. In Washington, D.C., the elevator in the Mission House was only repaired after a patriotic Nigerian intervened to restore it, an act which, while noble, underscores gross negligence and systemic dysfunction in running of Nigeria's foreign missions. They said they're also aware that these foreign missions foreign missions serve as a means of interface for Nigerian government, foreign governments, and other international organizations, and are strategic for advancing our diplomatic, economic, cultural, and technical aid policies. And so to have them in such a state, is quite embarrassing. He lamented that Nigeria has failed to replace its permanent representative to the United Nations and also Nigerian High Commissioner to the U.S., who chairs the Committee on Peace running into almost 2 years. The story is quite embarrassing, and we hope with this being highlighted, we'll see what the government
It's a bit weird because the story I took last week was that funds have been disbursed.
They've not gotten it
to sort out these issues.
Yeah, but they've not gotten it.
That's one. So we'll not be in the paper celebrating that, they finally disbursed funds. And then a week after, we are hearing that the 1 year salary hasn't been paid for mission workers.
And it's also embarrassing to the nation.
It's bad.
It's embarrassing to the nation. So these are some of the things that should be.
And you ask them not to collect bribe.
The money is hanging.
You want passports to come out fast.
The money is hanging.
So unfair.
That is sad.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. That's all we can take on newspaper reviews. When we come back, we do our special feature for today. We have a special announcement for you people. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.